The second chapter is finally back, but the remix has made some changes and the good old island is a bit different. But who's behind the transformation of zero reality into an abode of rappers, lowriders, and endless partying? Hi everyone, it's Philly Fishy here. After a slightly disappointing event, Epix managed to partially rehabilitate themselves and release a pretty good remix season. Or does it only seem that way at first glance? Find out with the best video patch note in the world, and in today's episode, what happened to the old locations? Why is Hope leaving Jonesy? And most importantly, will the final event in this chapter be a concert too? Grab your popcorn and make yourselves comfortable. DJ, start the record. By tradition, we start with the map changes. However, the usual review today will not be, because the island of the second chapter has seen many people, and it will take a whole video, or even two, to show all 16 locations. That's why we will touch only those places that have been transformed after the remix. For example, Dog Pound. Now Snoop Dogg's mansion is located on the place of the agency, and judging by the amount of gold around, it seems that it's not Midas who has the golden touch, but Snoop Dogg. Golden palm trees, golden statues, and even a golden fence. You literally have to walk around with sunglasses in this place to avoid being blinded by the glitter. Otherwise, the layout of the agency has been preserved. So despite the cosmetic repair of the legendary location, even with a little difficulty, but still recognizable. With each subsequent week on the island will appear 3 more locations, which will also be changed. The Shark, where Ice Spice will hang out. The Grotto. And then there's Juice World. Judging by the map, it will occupy a spot near Holly Hedges. All these locations will be analyzed in detail in the next videos. Those major changes that took place last OG season should not be expected. As it turned out, the leaked roadmap misled us. While we previously thought that the island would change every week, sort of transitioning from season to season, now it turns out that Epix has severely overplayed that concept. While the updates will indeed take place every week, the map itself will retain its current look. With the exception of those 3 locations I mentioned earlier. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, feel free to post in the comments. Personally, I think that this is a big blow to the atmosphere and the vibe that we could have gotten by going back to the normal second chapter. And to buy Snoop Dogg, the new M&M, or even Ice Spice, you can use my creator code PhillyFishy when you buy, because it helps me a lot in content development. And now we are smoothly moving to the gameplay part of the new season. And the main question on everyone's mind is, did Epix manage to replicate the gameplay of the second chapter? Yes and no. But let's go in order. Just being on the island, in the eye immediately strikes the battle bus, which looks, well, very strange. Personally, I think that it stands out from the general background, because of which, in some moments, the sense of immersion, which is sometimes very much missing, is lost. The hit-scan shooting system is back as well. For those who do not know what a hit-scan is, I explain. Before Fortnite, there was a more clear shooting system. The bullet flew wherever you launched it, roughly speaking, in a straight line. Starting from the 5th chapter, Epix abandoned this system and added an individual ballistic system to each weapon, which makes it necessary to calculate each shot, especially when it comes to sniper rifles. So, if it seemed to some people that shooting in the remix season has become different, you didn't think so, because the hitting system has become more gentle to not the most experienced players. However, you will have to get used to it again. But in a month, you will have to get used to it again, because as I think, in the 6th chapter, Epix will also want to add ballistics, and the loot pool is the same. As in the last OG season, every week from the vault will return old items that we actively used in the 2nd chapter. Otherwise, now in the rink without a sniper rifle and rocket launcher, to do nothing. Personally, I don't remember if there was such a meta 4 years ago, but if you go into the game, almost everyone will see the same build. Shotgun, sniper rifle, rocket launcher, and some treatment. In addition to the old guns, the ability to improve them in the workbench has returned. Among other things, old cars have also appeared on the island. In addition, boats have reappeared on the island, and a little later helicopters are activated, which can already be found on the takeoff pads. But this is about the old features and items. But the Remix Season 0 added something new as well. For example, Snoop Dogg's lowriders are the perfect ride for those who are bored with just driving and want to diversify their movement. If you press the jump button, you can literally jump on these cars. And the jump itself is quite high. So you can even safely overcome some obstacles. The system of hydraulics has touched not only lowriders of Snoop, but also Whiplash. But lowriders are not the only innovation. Take, for example, the mythical drum gun, which you can get from Snoop Dogg in his mansion. Or the Boogie Bomb remix, throwing which will make your opponent dance to his track. But in essence, this is just a small redesign of old items. So, it won't be possible to call them new. Speaking of bosses, there are a total of 3 boss locations on the island: the rig, the yacht, and the dog pound. On the rig, as in the original second chapter, sits grab her mythical explosive bow. In addition, each boss also drops his key card from each boss, which opens the vault. But that's not all, because after eliminating a boss, he immediately joins our team. If you defeat Snoop Dogg and Dog Pound or Meowdas on the yacht, they will recognize our strength and will help us in every possible way in fights. However, the locations with bosses are not very safe because in them, as well as in the second chapter, half of the people who started in the match are constantly flying. Also, at all locations there are NPC guards, and you can fight them in 2 ways. The first, and the easiest, to kill everyone to show who is the boss. The second is to trick and go the way of stealth, because now in every location with guards, you can find a booth for changing clothes. The same booths that were there back in the days of the original second season. Having changed the image, NPC cameras or turrets simply will not react to us. In addition, there will be an opportunity to open some closed rooms and crates where lies a good drop. Also, it was revealed today that on the last day of this season, November 30th, there will be an event called Remix Finale. And it will most likely be another concert featuring the late Juice WRLD, whose skin you can get for logging into the game that day. So while we previously assumed that as this season progressed, we'd be helping Midas complete the aggregate, that turned out not to be the case at all. It turns out that the final event wrapping up this season and the entire 5th chapter will simply be a concert. Now we get to the most interesting part, the plot. I don't know about you, but personally, the recent event has discouraged me from following what's going on with Hope, Jones, and the island in general. But I can't not tell you about what's going on right now. Right now, 4 recorded messages from Hope to Valerie can be found all over the map. Yes, part of my assumption that Valeria will still return to the storyline has come true. Just so far, it doesn't really affect anything. Judging by the messages Hope has left, she's stepping aside temporarily to deal with some issues there. And those issues seem to be extremely important, because she mentions that the events that took place on the island in Chapter 5 are part of something bigger, and that Pandora's box is just a detail of a bigger picture that we haven't seen yet. In a way, her message could even be called a farewell, because Hope realizes that she may not be able to return, and that's why she wants to make up with Valerie. Her sister is totally ignoring her. A new interesting fact also adds fuel to the fire. It turns out that Hope predicts the future through her graffiti. And something tells me that in the 6th chapter, we may see a new duo of characters. Jones and Valerie, who will go in search of Hope, because a new threat looms on the horizon. Several things hint at this. First of all, there are interesting graffiti of Hope in the files, where we can notice Dr. Sloan and a very strange TV where some creature is sitting. And, personally, there's only one thing that comes to my mind. The Nothing, who tried to contact us in Season 4 of Chapter 3. Also, if you look in the festival's battle pass, you'll notice a suspicious microphone and a guitar in the free part of the festival that look like they're covered in chrome. In short, we have a lot to discuss. And if the continuation of the plot in the remix season cannot be expected, but the beginning of the 6th chapter can be very cheerful. And despite the fact that I'll be upset about the event and such a chaotic transition to the remix season for a long time, I think the start of the season went pretty well. I won't say I'm happy or satisfied in any way. Anyway, maybe it's just my feelings because even the players rated the season with an average of 4 out of 5 points. So we can safely say that the return of the 2nd chapter, albeit severely trimmed, was to the community's liking. After all, who knows? Maybe in the next updates, epics will still be able to rehabilitate. And in order not to miss the most interesting events and breakdowns of novelties of the island, be sure to subscribe to the channel, because there is everything you need Fortniter. Also, don't forget to enter my Philly Fishy creator code in the item store. Don't forget your like from the 2nd chapter, and we'll see you in the...